You guys, welcome back to King Ols. So, yes, the UFC 300 main event has officially been announced. It is Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. I personally think it's a disappointing main event. The UFC have been messing around with this one. Let's be real. They really have. They've been building us all up to it as well, been making us wait. And I feel like for an event like UFC 300, they need a main event where, there's going to be a lot of talk around it, where there's going to be a lot of build up. And, as much as I think, Izzy and Duplessis is probably overall the wrong fight to make overall, but I feel like that would actually be a decent main event for UFC 300 because there's an actual story behind it, and there'll be a lot of talk in the build up to the at the press conferences, and just in general going to the build up. There's bad blood there, and I feel like for an event like UFC 300, which is meant to be the biggest UFC event in the history of UFC, basically, and MMA, that it's Jamal Hill and Alex Pereira. And as much as it's a great fight and I'm really looking forward to it, I feel like they should have done that on UFC 301. I feel like that's a fight to be done there. I mean, also, what are they doing with Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler? What are they messing around for with that? I don't understand. Conor McGregor in a UFC 300 main event. That. They should have done Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler. I don't know why they're what's going on. What is going on with the whole mess around with it all? Like, just everything's being messed around with the Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler fight. Like, there's just so much, just miscommunication around that whole thing. Let's be honest, it's such a joke of a situation. To be completely honest with you, I mean. Yeah, I don't know the UFC. I like overall. It's just like, what else could they have fully done? I mean, I feel like this is a great fight where we know this fight's going to be fireworks, but because it will. But again, there's no story behind it. It's not like the press conference is going to be anything special. And to hype up an event like UFC 300, there needs to be some absolutely, fireworks press conference, but there's not going to be that. Like, who's it? Like, at the press conference, there's going to be obviously Pereira and Hill. There's going to be Gaethje and Holloway, Oliveira and Sarukian, and it's like Cater and Sterling as well. Like, it's just like, is there anyone like that can really hype up the fight there? Like, yes, I'm guessing Holloway and Gaethje might have a bit of a back and forth, but apart from that, it's not like it's anything too amazingly special, is it? That press conference. Like, I do overall think that Leon Edwards and Hamzat could have been a decent fight. That could have got more fans hyped up than that, because obviously, Hamzat is a big star in the company right now. Then, you've got Leon, who, I mean, to be fair, a lot of people are talking about Leon at the moment more, and I feel like Leon and Chimaev are, they are bigger stars than Pereira and Hill. As much as I do think that Pereira and Hill's a better fight than Leon and Chimaev, I just feel like there just needs to be a fight where there's going to be so much hype behind it, but I feel like with Pereira and Hill, as much as it's a great fight, there's not going to be any bad blood there, and there's not going to be a load of talk in the build up to it. And as I've been saying, at an event like this, there has to be. But again, no, let's be real. The UFC, they've kind of been messing around with their options here, to be fair, though. Like, with the whole Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler situation, what's going on there with the Izzy Dricus situation? I mean, I guess Dricus has only recently just fought in January, so yeah, it's a bit too much of a quick turnaround for him. I don't think Makhachev can fight because of Ramadan. Yeah, so I mean, in a way, I don't know. I do expect better, though. I do expect better. And the whole undercard to it as well, with the them disappointing us with some undercard fights as well. Yeah, it's like UFC 299 is, better than this UFC 300 card. It is. But I mean, I do think we got a better main event than UFC 299. It's got a UFC 300 though. I mean, Pereira in here 100% tops Cheetah and O'Malley 100%. I mean, look, overall, Alex Pereira, he is one of my favorite fighters in the UFC right now. But I'm just saying that overall, this isn't a fight which build up wise isn't going to be great. When they're actually fighting, this is one of the best fights to make right now in the UFC. Build up wise to an event like this, it's not the fight to do it. I don't think they should have done it at UFC 301, and they needed to be pushing harder for Conor McGregor and Chandler. It's an absolute mess with what's going on with that whole thing right now. They're stalling and stalling and stalling it as much as possible. I don't understand why they can't get that on UFC 300. I don't understand. I don't understand why they can't get that on this card. It makes zero sense. But I mean, yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. It's just, them disappointing us with the whole massive announcements for the undercard as well. It's just the whole thing's just a bit underwhelming with, how us UFC fans are being treated. But with all, the announcements for the undercard, big undercard announcement, then you've got Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison. Like, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video here. Thanks for watching the video, King. I'll say what you guys think. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace out.